morning, Dr. Baring. Fifth cycle. Full dose, definite progress. Everything okay?
Yes.
You're doing fine. Isolation is no problem. Just a couple of days. Think of it as a vacation.
Oh.
Jason,
huh?
precautions.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
In isolation, I am isolated. For once, I can use the term literally. The chemotherapeutic agents eradicating my cancer have also eradicated my immune system. In my current condition, every living thing presents a health hazard to me.
I really have not got time for this.
Particularly healthcare professionals.
Just to look at the I know chart for 1 minute takes me half an hour to do precautions. 4, 7, 11, 250 twice. Okay. Oh, jeez, clinical. Professor Baring, how are you feeling today?
Fine. Just shaking a little from the chill.
IV will kick in any time now, no problem. Listen, gotta go. Keep pushing the fluids.
I am not in isolation because I have cancer. Because I have a tumor the size of a grapefruit. No, I am in isolation because I am being treated for cancer. My treatment imperils my health. Herein lies the paradox. John Donne would revel in it. I would revel in it if he wrote a poem about it. My students would flounder in it because paradox is too difficult to understand. Think of it as a puzzle, I would tell them, as an intellectual game. Or I would have, were it a game, which it is not. If they were here, if I were lecturing, oh, how I would perplex them. I could rip them into a frenzy, every nuance, every shifting ambiguity. Oh, I could draw so much from the poems. I could be so powerful. If poisonous minerals, and if that tree whose fruit threw death on else immortal us. If lecherous goats, if serpents envious cannot be damned, alas, why should I be? Why should intent or reason born in me make sins else equal in me more heinous? And mercy being easy and glorious to God, in his stern wrath why threatens he? But who am I that dare dispute with thee? O God, oh, of thine only worthy blood and my tears, make a heavenly Lethean flood, and drown in it my sins' black memory, that thou remember them some claim as debt. I think it mercy if thou wilt forget. Aggressive intellect, pious melodrama, and a final fearful point. Donne's Holy Sonnet number 5, 1609, in the Ashford edition, based on Gardner. The speaker of the poem has a brilliant mind, and he plays his part convincingly, but in the end, he finds God's forgiveness hard to believe, and so he crawls under a rock to hide. If arsenic and serpents are not damned, then why is he? In asking the question, the speaker turns eternal them. Rather than what is easy and glorious to show mercy. Several scholars have disputed Ashford's third comma in line 6, but none convincingly. But limitation, exception, contrast, the argument shifts from cleverness to melodrama, an unconvincing outpouring of piety. Oh God, oh. A typical prayer would plead, remember me, oh Lord. This is a point not nicely explicated by Richard Streer, a former student of mine who once sat where you are now, though I dare say he was awake at the time. In the May 1999 issue of Modern Philology, true believers ask to be remembered by God. The speaker of this sonnet asks God to forget. Where is the hyperactive intellect of the first section, where the histrionic outpouring of the second, when the speaker considers his own sins and the inevitability of God's judgment, he can conceive of but one resolution: to disappear. Doctrine assures us that no sinner is denied salvation. Not even one whose sins are overweening intellect or overwrought dramatics. The speaker need not hide from God's judgment, simply accept his forgiveness. It is very, very simple. It is suspiciously simple. We want to correct the speaker. We want to remind him of the assurance of salvation, but it is too late. The dramatic and poetic encounter is over, and we are left to our own consciences. Have we outwitted done, or have we been outwitted?
Miss Berry? Miss Berry?
What is this?
You have to come down for a test. Jason just called and they want another ultrasound. They're concerned about a bowel obstruction. Is it okay if I come in?
No, not now.
No, I'm sorry, but they want it now.
No, it's not now. It should not be now.
Yes, they want to do it now. I've got the chair.
No, it's not now. I am in the middle of this. I have this plan for now, not ultrasound, no more tests, we've covered that.
I know, but they need for it to be now. It won't take long, and it's not a bad procedure. Why don't you come along?
I do not want to go now!
Miss Berry?
Meg?
B-E-A-R-I-N-G,
It'll just be a minute.
is it time for your break?
Yeah.
Take a break. This is my play's last scene. Here heavens appoint my pilgrimage last mile, and my race, idly, yet quickly run, hath this last pace, my span's last inch, my minute's last point. and gluttonous death shall instantly unjoint my body and soul. John Donne, 1609. I've always particularly liked that poem. In the abstract. Now, I find the image of my minute's last point a little too, shall we say, pointed. I don't mean to complain, but I am becoming very sick. Very, very sick. Ultimately sick, as it were. In everything I have done, I have been steadfast and resolute, some would say to the extreme. Now, I am distinguishing myself in illness. I have survived 8 cycles of hexamethylphosphocil and vinplatin at the full dose, ladies and gentlemen. I've broken the record and become something of a celebrity. Jason and Kalikian are simply delighted. I think they foresee celebrity status for themselves upon the appearance of the journal article they will no doubt write about me. But I flatter myself. The article will not be about me. It will be about my ovaries. It will be about my peritoneal cavity, which, despite their best intentions, is now crawling with cancer. What we have come to think of as me is in fact just a specimen jar. Just the dust jacket. Just the white piece of paper that bears the little black marks. My next line is supposed to be something like, "Oh God, it is such a relief to get back to my room after those infernal tests." Well, that's hardly true. To get back to my room after those infernal tests is just the next thing that happens. Oh God, it is such a goddamn relief to get back to my goddamn room after those goddamn tests. Oh.
Professor Baring, just come to check the INO. 456.5. Okay. How are you feeling today?
Fine.
That's great, just great.
How are my fluids?
Well, pretty good. No kidney involvement yet. That's pretty amazing with Hex and Vin.
How will you know when the kidneys are involved?
Lots of in, not much out.
That's simple.
No way. Compromised kidney function is a highly complex reaction. I'm simplifying for you.
Oh, thank you.
We're supposed to.
Bedside manner.
Yeah, there's a whole course on it in med school. It's required. Colossal waste of time for researchers.
I can imagine. Jason.
Oh.
What were you just saying?
When?
Never mind.
Professor Berry?
Yes.
Are you experiencing confusion? Short-term memory loss?
No.
Sure.
Yes. I was just wondering, why cancer?
Why cancer?
Why not open heart surgery?
Oh, yeah, why not plumbing? Why not run a lubrac for all the surgeons know about Homo sapiens sapiens? No way. Cancer's the only thing I ever wanted. Oh, really? Cancer is...
Awesome.
Yeah, that's right. It is awesome. How does it do it? The intercellular regulatory mechanisms, especially for proliferation and differentiation, the malignant neoplasia, just don't get it. You grow normal cells in tissue culture in a lab, and they replicate just enough to make a nice confluent monolayer. They divide 20 times or 50 times, but eventually they conk out. You grow cancer cells, and they never stop. No contact inhibition whatsoever. They just pile up. Just keep replicating forever. That's got a funny name. Know what it is?
No, what is it?
Immortality in culture.
Ah, sounds like a symposium.
It's an error in judgment in a molecular way. But why? Even on the protistic level, the normal cell-cell interactions are so subtle they'll take your breath away. Golden brown algae, for instance. The lowest multicellular life form on Earth. They're idiots, and it's incredible. It's perfect. So what's up with the cancer cells? Smartest guys in the world, with the best labs, funding. They don't know what to make of it.
And what about you?
Me? Oh, well, I've got a couple of ideas. Things aren't kicking around. Until I get a lab of my own. If I can survive this fellowship.
Ah, the part with the human beings.
Everybody's got to go through it. All the great researchers. They want us to be able to converse intelligently with the clinicians. As though researchers were the impediments. Clinicians are such troglodytes. So smarmy. Like, we have to hold hands to discuss creatinine clearance. Just cut the crap, I say.
Are you going to...
Do you ever miss people?
Everybody asks that. Especially girls.
And what you tell them?
I tell them yes.
Are they persuaded?
Some.
Some. I see. And what do you say when a patient is apprehensive, frightened?
Of who?
Never mind.
Professor Baring, who is the President of the United States?
Oh, I'm fine, really.
You sure? I couldn't order a test.
No, I'm fine. I'm just a little tired.
Okay. Look, I gotta go. Keep pushing the fluids. Try for 2,000 a day. Okay?
Okay. To use your word. Okay. So, the junior doctor, like the senior scholar, prefers research to humanity. At the same time, the senior scholar, in her pathetic state as simpering victim, wishes the junior doctor showed more interest in human contact. No! Now, I suppose we shall see through a series of flashbacks how the senior scholar ruthlessly denied her simpering students the touch of human kindness she now seeks. How then would we characterize you?
Huh?
How would we characterize the animating force of this sonnet?
Huh?
In this sonnet, what is the principal poetic device? I will give you a hint. It has nothing to do with football. What propels the sonnet? Did I say you are 19 years old? You are so young. You don't know a sonnet from a steak sandwich. By no means. You can come to this class prepared, or you can excuse yourself from this class, this department, and this university. Do not think for an instant I will tolerate anything in between. I was teaching him a lesson. So here we have another example of Dunn's agile wit, not so much resolving the issues of life and God as reveling in their complexity.
But why?
Like what?
Why does Dunn have to make everything so complicated? No, really. Why?
Do you know, someone asks me that question every year, and he was always one of the bright ones. What could I say? What do you think?
I think it's like he's hiding. Like he's confused. I don't know, maybe he's scared. So he hides behind all this complicated stuff. Hides behind his wit.
Hides behind wit.
Well, if he really knows what he means, he can say it more simple. Simply. He doesn't have to be such a brain, such a performer. Why does it have to be such a big deal?
This observation, despite its infelicitous phrasing, contained the seed of a perspicacious remark. Such an unlikely occurrence left me with two options. I could draw it out, or I could leave the brain to rest after its heroic effort. If I pursued, there was always the chance of great insight, or the risk of undergraduate banality I could never predict. Go on.
If he's really trying to figure out God and the meaning of life and all that big kind of stuff, why does he keep running away?
So far, so good. But they can only think for themselves so far before they begin to self-destruct.
It's like the more you hide, the less... No, wait. The more the closer you get, although you don't know it, the simple thing is there. You know what I mean?
That really is enough for today. Class dismissed.
Professor Barron, can I speak with you for a minute?
You may.
I need to ask for an extension on my paper. I'm really sorry, and I understand your policy, but...
Don't tell me your grandmother's died.
You knew.
That was a guess.
I have to go home.
Do as you will. But the paper is due when the paper is due. I don't know. I feel so much. What's the word? I look back and I see these scenes and it was late at night. The graveyard shift. Susie was on. I could hear her in the hall. I wanted her to come in and see me. So I had to create a little emergency. Nothing dramatic. It worked.
Miss Baring? Is that you beeping at 4 in the morning? Did that wake you up? Oh, I'm sorry. It just gets occluded sometimes.
I was awake.
You were? Well, what's the trouble, sweetheart?
Do not think for an instant anyone calls me sweetheart. But then I allowed it. I don't know.
Oh, you can't sleep?
No, I just keep thinking.
Oh, well, if you do that too much, you can get kind of confused.
I know. I can't figure things out. I'm in a quandary having these doubts.
Well, what you're doing is very hard.
Hard things are what I like best.
It's not the same. It's like it's out of control, isn't it?
I'm scared.
Oh, honey, of course you are.
I want.
No, I know. It's hard. It's hard.
I don't feel sure anymore.
And you used to feel sure.
Oh, yes, I used to feel sure.
Oh, Vivian.
Oh.
No, it's all right. I know. It hurts. I know. It's all right.
Yeah.
Vivian, do you want a tissue? Do you want an icy pole?
Yes, please.
I'll get it for you. I'll be right back.
Thank you. The epithelial cells in my GI tract have been killed by the chemo. The isopol feels good, it's something I can digest and keeps me hydrated. For your information.
When I was a kid, we used to get these from a truck. The man would come around and he'd ring his bell, and then we'd all run over and we'd sit on the curb and we'd eat our icy poles. It's pretty profound, huh?
Sounds nice. Here.
You sure? Thanks. Vivian, there's something that we need to talk about, that you need to think about.
My cancer's not being cured, is it?
Mm-mm.
They never expected it to be, did they?
Well, they thought that the drugs would make the tumour get smaller, and it has. It's gotten a lot smaller. But the problem is that it started in new places too. Yeah, they've learnt a whole lot for their research, and it was the best they had to give you. It was the strongest drugs, but there just isn't a good treatment for what you have yet, for advanced ovarian. I'm sorry, they should have explained this.
I knew.
You did.
I read between the lines.
So what you have to think about is your code status and what you want them to do if your heart stops.
Well,
you can be full code, and that means that if your heart stops, they'll call the code blue and the code team will come and resuscitate you, and then they'll take you to intensive care until you stabilize again. Or you can be do not resuscitate. So if your heart stops, we'll just let it, and you'll be DNR. You can think about it. I just wanted to present both choices before Kalikian and Jason talk to you.
you don't agree with them about this, do you?
Well, they like to save lives. So anything's okay as long as life continues. It doesn't matter that you're hooked up to 1 million machines. Kalikian, he's a great researcher and everything, and the fellows like Jason, they're all really smart, and it's really an honour for them to work with him. But they always want to know more.
I always want to know more. I'm a scholar, or I was, when I had shoes, when I had eyebrows.
Well, okay then, you'll be full code, that's fine.
No, don't complicate the matter.
That's okay, it's up to you if you're...
Let it stop.
Really?
Yes.
So if your heart stops beating, you...
Just let it stop.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll have Kalikian give the order. And
Susie,
Uh-huh.
you're still going to take care of me, aren't you?
Of course, sweetheart. Don't you worry.
Oh, that was a maudlin display. I cannot believe that my life has become so corny. But it can't be helped. I see no other way. We are discussing life and death, and not in the abstract either. We are discussing my life and my death and my brain is dulling, and poor Susie was never very bright to begin with, and I can conceive of no other tone. That now is not the time for verbal swordplay, for unlikely flights of the imagination, for wildly shifting perspectives, for metaphysical conceit, for wit. And nothing could be worse than a detailed scholarly examination, erudition, interpretation, complication. Now is a time for simplicity. Now is a time for, dare I say it, kindness. I thought being very clever would take care of it. I see I have been found out. Oh God, I'm scared. I want to tell you how it feels. I want to explain. I want to use my words. It's like I can't. There aren't. It's like I'm a student and this is the final exam and I don't know what to put down because I don't understand the question and I'm running out of time. The time for extreme measures has come. Susie says I need to begin aggressive pain management if I am to withstand it. It's such a little word. I think in this instant, it signifies being alive. I am in terrible pain. Oh, I apologise in advance for what this palliative treatment modality does for the dramatic coherence of my play's last scene. It can't be helped. I'm in terrible pain. They've got to do something. Say it, Vivian. No, it does look at it, but it doesn't good.
It's okay. It's okay. I paid you to leak in up here and we'll get you some meds. No, I know. We're just trying to clear your mind. It's okay. We're going to get you a patient-controlled analgesic. It's a little pump. And you push a little button to decide how much medication you want. It's very simple, and it's up to you.
Dr. Mary, Susie.
It's time for patient-controlled analgesic. The pain's killing her.
Dr. Mary, are you in pain?
Am I in pain? I do not believe this. Of course I am in goddamn pain. I
I have a fever of 101 spiking at 104. I have bone metastases in both femurs and my pelvis. Cancer is eating away my goddamn bones, and I did not think there could be so much pain on this earth. Oh, God!
I want a morphine drip.
What about patient control? She could be more alert.
Ordinary, yes, but in her
But
case,
I
no. She's learned to rest. Morphine 10 push now, then start at 10 an hour. Dr. Baring, try to relax. We're going to help you through this. Don't you worry. Dr. Baring. Excellent.
Hi. How are you feeling? These are my last coherent lines. I'll have to leave the action to the professionals. It came so quickly, after taking so long. Not even time for a proper conclusion. And death, capital D, shall be no more. Semicolon. Death, capital D. Thou shalt die. Exclamation mark. I'm sorry. I trust this will have a soporific effect.
Well, I don't know about that, but it sure makes you sleepy. Well, what's so funny? What?
Makes you sleepy.
Oh, it does? Oh, well, that's pretty dumb.
Funny.
Yeah. I guess. In a dumb sort of way. I never would have gotten it. I'm glad you explained it.
I'm a teacher.
Yeah, she was a great scholar. Wrote tons of books, articles, was ahead of everything. 275, 520. Let's up the hydration. She won't be drinking anymore, see if we can keep her kidneys from fading. Yeah, I had a lot of respect for her, which is more than I can say for the entire biochemistry department.
What do you want? Dextrose?
Give her saline.
Okay.
She gave a hell of a lecture. No notes, no word out of place. It was pretty impressive. All of the students hated her though.
Why?
Well, she wasn't exactly a cupcake.
Well, she hasn't exactly been a cupcake here either. And Miss Baring, Jason and I are here, and we're going to insert a catheter to collect your urine. It's not gonna hurt, don't you worry.
Like she can hear you.
Oh, it's just nice to do.
8 cycles of Hexenvin at the full dose. Kalikin didn't think it was possible. I wish they could all get through it at full throttle. Then we could really have some data.
She's not what I imagined. I thought someone who studied poetry would be sort of dreamy, you know?
Not the way she did it. Felt more like boot camp in English class. This guy, John Dunn, was incredibly intense. Like your whole brain had to be in knots before you could get it.
He made it hard on purpose?
Well, it has to do with the subject. The Holy Sonnets we worked on those. They were mostly about salvation anxiety. It's a term I made up in one of my papers, but I think it fits pretty well. Salvation anxiety. Yeah, this brilliant guy, I mean brilliant, this guy makes Shakespeare sound like a Hallmark card. And you know you're a sinner. And there's this whole promise of salvation, the whole religious thing, but you just can't deal with it.
How come?
Well, it just doesn't stand up to scrutiny. But you can't face life without it either. So, you write these screwed up sonnets. Everything is brilliantly convoluted, really tricky stuff, bouncing off the walls. Like, again, to make the puzzle so complicated.
But what happens in the end?
End of what?
To John Donne, does he get it?
Get what?
His salvation anxiety? Does he ever understand?
Oh, no, wait, the puzzle takes over. You're not even trying to solve it anymore. Fascinating, really. Great training for lab research, looking at things in increasing levels of complexity.
Until what?
What do you mean?
Where does it end? I mean, don't you get to solve the puzzle?
No. When it comes right down to it, research is just trying to quantify the complications of the puzzle.
But you help people. I mean, you save lives and stuff.
Oh, yeah, I saved some guy's life and then the poor slot gets hit by a bus.
I guess. I just don't think about it that way. I guess you can tell I never took a class in poetry.
If there's one thing we learned in 17th century poetry, it's that you can forget about that sentimental stuff. Enzyme kinetics was more poetic than Bering's class. Besides, you can't think about that meaning of life garbage all the time or you can go nuts.
Do you believe in it?
In what?
I don't know. The meaning of life garbage?
What do they teach you in nursing school? She's out of it. Shouldn't be too long. You done here?
Yeah, I'll just tidy up.
See ya.
Bye, Jess.
Vivian? Vivian? It's Evelyn. Vivian? I'm in town visiting my great-grandson, who is celebrating his fifth birthday. I went to see you at your office, and they directed me here. I've been walking all over town. I have forgotten how early it gets chilly here. I know you do. I know. I can sleep. Oh dear. There. There. Oh, Vivian. There. There. It's a windy day. Don't worry, dear. Let's see. Shall I recite to you? Would you like that? I'll recite something by Donne.
No.
Very well. Little Geoffrey is very sweet. Gets into everything. Let's see. The Runaway Bunny by Margaret Wise Brown. Pictures by Clement Hurd. Copyright 1942. First Harper Trophy edition 1972. Now then. Once there was a little bunny who wanted to run away. So he said to his mother, "I am running away." "If you run away," said his mother, "I will run after you, for you are my little bunny." "If you run after me," said the little bunny, "I will become a fish in a trout stream, and I will swim away from you." "If you become a fish in a trout stream," said his mother, "I will become a fisherman, and I will fish for you." Ah, look at that. A little allegory of the soul. No matter where it hides, God will find it. See, Vivian? "If you become a fisherman," said the little bunny, "I will be a bird and fly away from you." "If you become a bird and fly away from me," said his mother, "I will be a tree that you come home to." Very clever. "Shucks," said the little bunny. "I might just as well stay where I am and be your little bunny." And so he did. "Have a carrot," said the mother bunny. Wonderful. time to go. And flights of angels sing thee to thy rest.
Professor Berry, how are you feeling today? 3 p.m. IV hydration totals 2,000 in, 30 out. Uh-oh, that's it. Kidney's gone. Professor Berry, highly unresponsive. Wait a second. Jesus Christ.
Code! Code 4575. Code Blue, room 707. Code Blue, room 707. Dr. Posner, POSNER. Hurry up! Come on, come on! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Goddamn code, get over here!
She's DNR!
She's research!
She's no code!
Oh, damn it,
She's no code! Kaliki put the order in, you saw Jason, you were right there. Oh God, the code 4575. Cancel code, room 707. Sue Monahan, primary nurse. Cancel code, Dr. Posner is
Oh, God, get out of the way! Get to the board!
Stop, the patient is DNR!
No, stop doing this! Stop!
Stop, the patient is DNR! Look at this, do not resuscitate, Kaliki!
I made a mistake!
No code, the patient's no code.
Who the hell are you anyway?
Sue Monahan, primary
Let me
nurse.
see that goddamn chart.
Get away from
Do not resuscitate, Kaliki. Shit. Because
God.
DNR.